Hey, doing the best you can and lending a hand, and that's what Comfortably Zoned is about. And you are just that. I am the Zigzag Man. You are in Alameda, California, and in Marin County simultaneously. My guest is a returnee to these microphones and one of my all-time favorite human beings, comedian Doug Ferrari. What do you hear? What do you say, Doug?
Hey, Ralph, you're one of my favorite people, too. I saw a headshot of Ralph Tycho, folks, if you see him on Facebook from the 80s, and you look like James Dean, but angry. I mean, you look like a completely different person.
He's been dead a long time. He's been dead a long time, Doug. I could be looking like him.
You were clean cut in your old stand-up headshot. And you weren't even dressed as a nun.
They'd have none of that in those days. We could tell stories all day when I was a young nun and talking to the Sister Inferior and all that, but that was long ago. And let's get into Doug Ferrari. I want to catch up with you a little bit. You've been a regular now at the Throckmorton Theatre in Marin, and
Mill Valley.
In Marin, but in Mill Valley.
In Mill Valley,
Mill Valley.
Yeah.
I want you to talk to me a little bit about the history of that theater and the importance of it, and you're getting involved there.
Thanks. Well, I'm like a comedian in residence. And this is the only theater where this could ever happen. It was a vaudeville house in 1914. They had their 100th anniversary last year. And it's right across the street from where the old Sweetwater used to be in Mill Valley. And I lived in Mill Valley many years ago, and very famous. But I never noticed the Throckmorton because for a long time it was like an Elk Lodge. But when it was a vaudeville house, Charlie Chaplin and Stan Laurel played on that stage.
Oh, wow.
And so sometimes I get a vibe. And then when we were roasting Mark Pitta, I said, I know that Chaplin's spirit is here because when Mark's on stage, it's silent. And the other thing about the theater is 10 and a half years ago, they started a Tuesday night comedy night, and Mark Pitta hosted it until a few months ago. And now Lucy Mercer runs it, who's the owner of the theater. And they used to have, Robin 100 times, Dana Carvey 100 times, every kind of name. People drive up from L.A., Rick Overton, Rich Scheidner, to be at the Throckmorton Theater on Tuesday night with their 300 people. And I've taped all my CDs and DVDs and YouTubes there because it's the best audience. They're smart. They're not too Marinite, Jaguar, yoga pants, and attitude.
Right.
They're a comedy-loving crowd. They have state-of-the-art sound and lights, and they mic the crowd, and then they give you the CD. That's why I made 2 CDs from that show, because they mic the crowd. It's almost like doing a TV show.
Terrific.
And I love
the response. There's nothing like the response on the CD of the crowd, so it gets a sense of how you're doing, and you get energy from the crowd, and why not reflect that on the CD? I think that's terrific.
Well, because they're good crowds. If I've ever bombed on a Tuesday, I wouldn't tape it, but I've taped everyone, and then I try to videotape them now, at least on an iPhone, because I don't want to lose anything at this place. But what happened was Lucy came up with this idea for this show, and it's the 40th anniversary of punk. Well, I played the Mabuhay Gardens in San Francisco for 52 Friday nights, but I wasn't a punk. I was too old to be a punk. I went to a lot of punk shows, but I'm going to do a little tribute to punk anyway. And then most of the show is going to be a comedian panel talking about the San Francisco comedy scene for the last 40 years, 40th anniversary, and with a tribute to the zoo, a special photo montage tribute to the Holy City Zoo.
Beautiful. And as you know, you and I will go way back at the Holy City Zoo. So I'd like to be a part of that, and I'm coming down. This is on the 28th. It's a Friday night.
Yes, Friday the 28th, Labor Day weekend, but we have Michael Pritchard in his first show since he recuperated from having a heart attack. And
he's had some major surgery after that.
And we have, I don't know how, I bet you there's a lot of comedy fans in your audience. You have Stephen Pearl, Al Cleason, Mike Pritchard, Larry Bubbles Brown, and Debbie Durst. Oh, wow.
These are old days.
And I wanted to do some of my showbiz stories for you that I'm going to do at the show and just kind of riff on them a little bit, because then I can give the audience a little bit of an idea of what I'm going to do when it's the comedy part. I'm going to just talk about me a little bit. So can I tell you about when I saw the Three Stooges?
You got it, man. I'd love to hear it.
Okay, so when they started to play the Stooges on TV in 1962, they had their biggest popularity ever. They got Curly Joe DeRita and did this big national tour. And I saw them at 5 years old at the Circle Star Theater. And they were like hitting each other over the head with pots and pans, Ralph, like dong, dong, and the sound effects were perfect. And I still cannot tell you how they did it. And I figured out David Copperfield years ago. They did all their shorts, like an entire show of Three Stooges. And we little snots went nuts. And I saw this incredible smile on Mo Howard and Larry Fine's faces. They came down the aisle and they were shaking kids' hands. And they got to me and my little sister, and, Mo Howard's pancake makeup is screaming down his face, right? He's got a big smile on his face, and he reaches out to shake my hand. I started crying like a baby. I was terrified. My sister and I started crying. But what I love about it, Ralph, is that, I love name-dropping, rock concert stories. I love hearing that a friend was at Woodstock or the Acid Test or Altamont or the Last Waltz, and I wait till the end, and then I say I saw the Three Stooges live, and I actually said that's what I'm going to do with my life, comedy. And
was that the moment when you said, "Boy, what they're doing is special, and I want to do something like that"?
Yeah, that's what I thought to myself. I said, "This is what I'm going to do." And then I eventually got three guys together, and we started a comedy group. But I didn't realize there has not been a successful three-man comedy group since the Three Stooges in 1963. So that was a great career move. But we had a lot of fun for 7 years. And then the same year, I did a musical review with our local guy. Now, in New York, you had your kids show host. You had Soupy Sales, Pinky Lee, right?
Right. Absolutely.
We had Mayor Art Finley. He was famous.
And Mayor Art just passed away. His name was...
Yes, and I'm going to say that we lost Mayor Art just this month, and it's sad. I wish I'd gone back and visited him and all that, but I can't talk about that at the show. I want it to be positive that my parents knew I loved show business by now, so they wouldn't let me be on his TV show, but there was a big musical review, and they booked all the kids from my school. So I was in a musical review of The Music Man and The Sound of Music, and Mayor Art sang all the lead parts. And but as we're going to the show, my little sister, Marisa, she caught her thumb in a door, and it got all big and purple. She's crying her head off. I'm thinking, and I thought to myself, this better not keep me from doing the show.
Poor little sister's writhing in pain.
Right, I was 5 years old. So then in a minute I'll tell you about the night we spent with John Belushi. And I was going to tell the Comedy Store story, but maybe I'll skip that one. But tell
me about Belushi. Belushi was incredibly talented, man.
Okay, let me think about how to start that one. Okay, the story is that my comedy group is called the High Wire Radio Choir. We had Kevin Espel and Ray Hanna and me, and we worked at KSJO in San Jose when it was very big, 75 to 80. We did funny news, and we did a radio show every Sunday night, so we got all these comps. 1977, Saturday Night Live was really big, and they do this big concert in San Jose at the Flint Center, the stars of Saturday Night Live, except everyone canceled but Belushi. So they only had Belushi, and this screwed-up promoter didn't say anything, didn't change the radio ad. So people are ready to see the whole cast, and what they got was some short subjects from the show, and then a writer came out and talked, and people were getting restless. And Belushi had a headline by himself, and Belushi wasn't a stand-up. So he's behind a podium. We thought it was funny, but people started yelling, "Where's Gilda? Where's Dan?" Like really mad, "Where's Dan?"
Yeah.
And it went downhill fast, and then his big finish, John cut up the podium with a chainsaw. So we go backstage, and he's in like a deep funk. There's no one around him, no handlers, managers, nobody. So we asked him, if we can go take him back to our house and cheer him up. The only thing he asked for was a bottle of Bushmills. So we drank that, and he had done 2 Quaaludes before the show he did not tell us about, and there was no visible effect. He was quiet and shy and sweet, and he made a phone call to Hunter S. Thompson for some reason and got a machine. And then it got real quiet, because he was so shy. He didn't know what to say as far as conversation. It got really quiet. So my friend Kevin put on "You Are So Beautiful" by Joe Cocker.
Oh, it's a great song. Yeah.
Without missing a beat, he did the whole song perfectly in our living room. We would have done the whole record if we hadn't turned it off. And then somebody offered him some LSD for later. He said, "What later?" So now he's on LSD too. So now it's like 2 a.m, and John's hungry. So we're going to go to El Rebozo downtown, open till 3 a.m. When we all pile into a truck, and 2 seconds later, John leans over us out the truck, and he's sick. He's sick for 20, 30 minutes, and now he's out. So it was up to Kevin Ray and I to get him back to his hotel. We were afraid we'd killed him, Ralph. We didn't know what in the world was happening to him, So we had
Did
to
you
take
consider?
him to
Go ahead. I was going to say, did you consider the emergency room?
No, we never did. No, we were too young and stupid. All of us, and I have a picture of us with him too, and somebody smoking a joint. He looks like he's got a shit-eating grin, but no, he's talking and moving. He's barely moving. He's just in the truck.
But he's comatose. He's all right.
Right. Well, no, he's not comatose. No, he's not.
Well, not comatose, but yeah, he's all right.
No, he's after
conscious.
Somebody is sick. After somebody throws up, that's how he was. So
okay.
But wait, it gets better or worse depending on how you look at it. So we had to take him to the Hyatt Palo Alto at 4 a.m, and even though we knew jack shit about show business, we knew no one can see him like this. So we carried him in through the back door, didn't use the elevator, used the stairs, and by the 4th floor or something of this hotel, John couldn't do any more steps. And he just laid on the steps, and now he's out. He won't move. He won't, his eyes are closed. We can't carry him. He's too big. And so my friend Kevin, once again, he knew what to do. He started quoting the last scene of On the Waterfront with Marlon Brando, where the priest says to him, "Johnny Friendly's laying odds you won't get up." So John opens one eye slowly, and he lumbers to his feet. And as Marlon Brando acts his way up the stairs, he had to be Marlon Brando to walk. So we were doing the last lines of the movie. "Go get him, buddy. You can do it." And he gets into his room. He collapses on the bed. And the last line, Kevin yells, "Everybody get to work." He made his flight. We got no complaints, but he was lonely because he called us maybe 10 times late at night, and he gave us a shout-out at the end of Saturday Night Live one week, but that could have been some of my friends hallucinating because I never saw it personally. But this is what I always say, Ralph, is that he had a heart as big as a whale. He was not the poster boy for drugs. He was a unique comedy genius. He was a beautiful human being. He didn't even OD on purpose. The woman gave him a shot and went to prison for manslaughter. And that's why I hated the book Wired and the movie Wired. And I want John to be remembered as what we saw on TV. When we saw John Belushi, that was just him with lights on.
Right. He didn't have to act. He didn't have to. I mean, that was the real John. So
he wasn't
he got up there.
He
was at home on stage.
Yeah, but he also, he wasn't home off stage. I'm going to, I talk about that sometimes, but mostly I'm going to do it in this show. I'm going to mention that, most people have stage fright. I have off stage fright. I love the stage. I wish I could sleep up there. It's the only place anybody listens. The only place anybody listens to me, where I can talk uninterrupted. It's like heaven.
No, John, Doug, your lady friend listens to you all the time, doesn't she? Don't you discuss things? Doesn't she listen, and don't you listen to her?
Oh, sometimes, but she misses about half of what I say because she tunes out. She needs a lot of tune-out time. She works hard. I just ran by the show with her and stuff, and like any girlfriend, she goes, "It's good. Need some fine-tuning. But it's good."
Right.
It's like, it does need fine-tuning.
So tell me, you guys have been together about a year now, am I correct?
7 years.
7 years,
7 years,
but actually really been together for about a year.
Well, a year.
How has that changed you?
7 years is what we call it because we only lived together for a year, but we were still boyfriend, girlfriend, even though she was in San Jose. She got out of her marriage. She got out of San Jose, and finally we got into the same place after 6 years. And so we're almost the 1 year anniversary of living together, and she hasn't killed me yet.
Well, how have things changed for you in the last year? You've been single guy for a long time, together with her, but apart in a sense. How are things different for you?
It was like getting to San Jose, or mostly her getting to San Francisco, was like having a bi-coastal relationship. The hassle and the driving and the scheduling and and two teenage boys, on her hands, and who are all grown up now.
Right.
So now
things are going. You're settled. You're really settled in, and you got things going your way, and I'm delighted to hear that.
Well, I need to be close to the theater because I just saw Woody Allen playing his music at the theater last week, and Lucy, as part of this, there isn't a plaque that says I'm an artist in residence because I'm not an artist, but I say comedian residence because I've gotten free tickets. I got she gave us all front row seats to see Woody Allen.
Wow. Nice.
That's who plays there. There's huge, huge people that play there. And Woody Allen played there because Mort Saul plays there every week. And like me, he moved to Mill Valley or Marin to be close to the theater. And Mort Saul told Woody, "You got to play this place." So he was there 2 years ago, and then he came with a different band. He did 2 nights, and he took pictures with everybody.
So
he was a doll. He was a doll.
Yeah.
Nothing like you think. Now he's old enough now, but people think, well, he just plays music. There's always going to be somebody that says he just played music on stage. Well, that's what he did. Everybody knows that's what he does. He didn't tell a joke. The only joke he told is he said, "We do this music not for money or not for fame. We do this music out of love. And if you people want to pay this much money to see us, I have no problem with that." Because the tickets were like $300 or something.
Wow. Well, hey, Doug, go ahead. I got to tell you my Woody Allen joke. One of his first jokes, and it influenced me when I was a little kid. Woody Allen was, I think it was on Jack Paar. He comes on and he says, I saw a man today. No. I'll start again. He says, when I was a little kid, my grandfather gave me a bullet. a bullet to carry around in my breast pocket. I didn't know why. He just said, carry this, it'll protect you. One day I'm walking down the street, and a mad minister throws a Bible out of a sixth-floor window and would have gone right through me if it weren't for the bullet. So,
now, that's hilarious, and I've never heard it. And not only have I followed him since '64, but I saw Woody live at the Circle Star, too, although I don't ever talk about that. I saw him in '72, his last time he ever did stand-up. And he never moved a muscle, but he was hilarious. And I don't remember any of his jokes from that night because I was very young, but I can remember one joke that you might, of Woody's. One of my favorites is he said, I have a strict Freudian psychiatrist, and I've been seeing him for 20 years, and I am now a well-adjusted Viennese man of the 1920s. So anyway,
he was a genius, and I'll tell you, we haven't talked about her passing, but Joan Rivers was a genius, and back in those days in the 50s, and she was unabashed, and I
used to sell her jokes, and she was so nice to comics that she'd send everybody $20. People would send her blank envelopes, and they'd get $20. They'd get a check $20, and the people that wrote jokes for comics like me, for Dangerfield, people like that, you would just send them in, and God knows which one she used. I wish I could have met her. You know, they had a whole celebration of Robin at the Throckmorton on a Tuesday, which was really close to his birthday, just a couple of weeks ago. And you know what they had? A lot of improv. They had his mime teacher doing mime. They had all kinds of people he played with and things that he did. There was no movie clips or pictures or sad things. It was really well done. It was a celebration, and I couldn't watch the show. It was so packed. You can get, there's 300 people, but there's also 2 small rooms. And she's going to give me a regular week, 1 show a week in her new small room in front that seats about 40. And I might do a trivia pub there every week. But that's another story. Right now I'm just concentrating on the 28th because I got a lot of comics to what do you call them, the cowboys that are keeping the cattle together. I gotta keep these guys all together, and already I found out that one of them absolutely hates another one, and I'm trying to get them not to quit now because they're on the same panel. I said, I'll sit you 6 seats away, and it's like, I'll think about it. That's show business.
That's show business. Hey, I want a little insight into your life a little bit. Tell me about your famous toy collection, when you started collecting toys, and what's that all about?
I don't even know where they are now, but I used to be into buying back my childhood. I was very satisfied for 25 years until I moved so many times it's in storage now. I don't even remember what I have, but I used to have about 1,000 pieces, and they had to be from the 60s, and they had to be original. And things that I would have had as a kid that my parents didn't buy me, that I can now go to a store and buy. So I had like 100. I had a lot of Avon bottles. Those were easy to find, and I used to get everything from garage sales. A lot of those Mr. Peanut dolls, Pee Wee Herman doll, a Mork doll from Mork and Mindy that used to talk with a string, and Robin signed it for me. And and it's in storage now. I hope I find this stuff again someday. But I stopped collecting. I had one hobby in my life, and now I'm just back to doing what I do, which is performing all I can, writing this new show from scratch, and writing for other comedians and stuff like that. And I love doing what you do. I love doing your shows because I started in radio. I really started in theater, but I did enough radio to know that people still love radio now. They just call it a podcast and they get it off iTunes.
Right.
But good radio is good radio.
Hey, thank you. That's well appreciated. I'm a radio fan. Who'd you grow up listening to in San Francisco?
Tom
What shows that?
KYA or KSFO, Terry McGovern on KSFO, the old big band station, because I like big band. Before that, there was a guy, Tom Campbell, I think, and he used to call up and do requests. There was a bunch of guys that were famous if you're really old and from San Francisco, but you wouldn't know any of them are. I'll tell you one.
I know about Ira Blue. Do you remember Ira Blue from San Francisco?
No.
He had a late-night talk show.
I remember Norman Davis from KSAN. I run into him. I remember KSAN, but nothing before that, unless Ira Blue was on KSAN. But, there are people who recognize that stuff if I post an old KYA thing. But, there used to be some great radio in San Francisco, and now I listen to a lot of Pandora on my Roku. And on the Django Reinhardt station or the Lucinda Williams station or something where I have some control over the songs, because regular radio irritates the hell out of me now.
Well, I'm glad you like podcasts, and I'm glad you continue to come back and be a guest here, because you're really terrific. Remind everybody again, if you would, about when the show is and where it is and how they can get in touch with you. Give me some website
all right.
numbers.
Okay, here's the deal. It's called Intentionally Offensive, the 40th anniversary of the SF comedy and punk scenes, with Mike Pritchard, Al Cleaton, Stephen Pearl, Larry Bubbles Brown, Debbie Durst, and me. And it's Friday, August 28th at the Throckmorton Theatre right in downtown Mill Valley, and it's only $20 in advance for tickets, $25 at the door. And I think we're going to sell out because people haven't seen Michael Pritchard for a while. He's just spent 6 months recuperating from a heart attack, and now he looks like $1 million. Wait, have you seen the pictures? Wait till you see him in person.
He must have lost 25 pounds. He looks great. He looks tremendous.
He lost 50 or 75 pounds. I should know. I lost 120, remember?
Oh, yeah.
So I used to be so fat I could sit on an iPhone and turn it into an iPad 6. Folks, hey,
no, you weren't fat. You're a big guy, but you were not fat, like fat men know, fat.
I didn't do a fat man act like some people, but the jokes worked. The more the jokes worked, the bigger I knew I was getting. So now I just do all the jokes in the past tense and stuff. But I really appreciate this, and I hope that you come down to the show. Okay,
now give me a website where you can be reached, where the best place to reach Doug Ferrari.
People can buy tickets at throckmortontheatre.org, throckmortontheatre.org. It's a nice website. You can buy tickets online. And then as far as the people getting a hold of me, until I get on Twitter, there's only one way to get a hold of me, and that's Facebook. And if not, ask somebody for my phone number. I get all my gigs on Facebook ever since I went on. I can't stop checking it because something always happens.
Beautiful.
Writes me, So thanks a lot there, Ralphie boy, and I'll be posting this when you put it up all week.
Okay, and I'm going to bring 3 guests to your show, and I'm hoping you take care of us.
I will put you're on the pest list, as my friend.
I'm on the pest list, right?
Yes, you're on the pest list. You're on the permanent pest list, so don't worry about it. Okay, so.
All right, Dougie. I'm glad. I love to hear you up like this, which is really nice. Life's up and downs, and when you're up, you're the best.
Thank you, Ralph.
All right, keep it up, my friend, and I'll talk to you soon. I'm going to end the episode same way I do everyone I do. I implore you, Doug Ferrari, San Francisco comedy man and Renaissance guy and toy collector and all those things, and all my audio out there, to keep your humor dry, keep your dreams wet, keep your kids out of military recruiting stations, and keep your children and grandchildren off the laps of clerics that wear dresses. Have a nice day. Adios, amigos and amigas.
Bye.